2.5 inches. Whoa! This right here is American Wagyu. It's from a place called Snake River Farms. Not sponsored, but huge fan. It's a little bit of a challenge how I'm gonna cook it. I'm gonna do it very similar to how I normally do it. I'm gonna have to have it in the oven a little longer, and I'm gonna really have to watch the temperature. This right here is the beast. Usually everyone that tries these steaks love these steaks. They are expensive, don't get me wrong. American Wagyu is still pricey, it's a treat, but it's way better of a value than Japanese Wagyu, which sounds kind of weird because Wagyu kind of means Japanese beef. But the thing about Japanese Wagyu is it's very fatty, it's super marbled, lots of flavor, but in my opinion, maybe a little bit too much flavor. It's very buttery, it's decadent, but it's over the top. The thing about American Wagyu, you get more of that beef flavor. But the big thing for me is the price. It's way more affordable compared to Japanese Wagyu, so like an A5 Wagyu, which if you've seen it is super marbled. This American Wagyu is marbled enough in my opinion, plenty. And then you still get that beefy flavor that people love from steaks generally when you're, eating Angus or whatever. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just pat drying this and I'm going to season it. The reason it's on this rack, I learned this from my friend Matt actually, is because I want to slightly dry out the outside. The pat drying removes all the moisture from the outside, but when I put this into the fridge for a little bit longer, it's gonna further remove moisture so that I have a dry exterior, and that's gonna make for a very crispy crust on the outside, and it's gonna keep it nice and tender on the inside. The way I like to cook it is I sear both sides, and then I'm gonna stick it into a very hot oven. We're talking 500 plus degrees. I'm just gonna put salt. Now, a lot of people will put pepper, which I do too sometimes, but this one, I'm just gonna be doing salt because this might require a little bit more searing, and I don't wanna burn that pepper any more than I have to. And I can always add pepper afterwards, but this is gonna require a lot of salt, I'll tell you that. And we're gonna put it on all sides. I mean, this thing is so thick, like this thing. Even the sides have a side that I can sear, so wow, this is gonna be really fun. Another thing I like to do is keep my steak out and let it get up to room temperature. But I recently watched this video by Chris Young. He's a YouTube creator. He's really a proper cook and chef that says it actually doesn't matter letting it get to room temperature, which kind of I agree with. And the reason is because if you're gonna temp your meat anyways, then you just make sure to cook it all the way through. And then also maybe it gives you a little bit more of a rare inside if that's what you want. So it just all depends what you're going for, and you have to just try different things out. And there's so many variables that will affect a good piece of meat, and ultimately it's all how you cook it that matters, I think, the most. Secondly, the quality of your meat, and then are you paying attention? I'm gonna let these rest on this rack. I'm gonna throw it into the fridge for at least 2 hours. I'm gonna take it out about an hour or two before cooking, and then we'll get this thing going and enjoy a nice, delicious dinner. Okay, I'm gonna start cooking now. These steaks have been resting at least an hour. You don't have to. I don't know, this is probably the shortest I normally do, but usually I like to let them set out for 2 to 3 hours because I like to cook them at room temperature. I'm kind of experimenting today, but the thing is when I cook these steaks, the way I'm gonna cook them is I'm gonna sear them really good on each side, literally all 4 sides, because look at this thing. Not only do I have this side like I normally do and this side, but look at this side. I mean, I could legit sear all 4 sides, almost like a square. But once I sear that, I'm gonna put it into the grill. I'm gonna kind of put it on the top shelf and it's gonna act like an oven. So let me go over there and show you what I got set up. All right, so I got the charbroil grill going on. It is at 550 degrees right now. Underneath, I've got my cast iron, which is blazing hot. This is typically too hot. This is not as hot as I normally want it, but because I want a quick sear and I want to get it to the top shelf, close it up and make it into an oven, I actually am okay with it. And also, it's gonna take so long to sear all 4 sides of this that this is gonna lose a lot of heat. This is just being heated by the grill elements down below, which is natural gas, so it's not the same as doing it on a stovetop. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this started, and then I'll talk you through what I'm doing. Oh, one other thing I've got going on too. There's so much fat on the steaks itself. I won't need this, but I do like just layering the cooking process with a little clarified butter. So I will have that on hand as well. And this is just gonna make it even more decadent. So clarified butter, this is one of my secrets. Because I put these inside of the fridge, these steaks are fairly dry. It's a little wet down here, that's okay. But I'm gonna start this off with the fat side down. This is gonna help render out the fat of the steak and create some oil, or of course fat. But instead of using oil, I can use the steak fat as the thing that's gonna keep it from sticking. So I'm just gonna go ahead and let that cook for about 1 or 2 minutes. Normally, you would want to put some oil down on the pan, but because there's so much fat on here, you don't even need the clarified butter. I'm just gonna put the clarified butter because I like the flavor. Just a little bit, not that much, just like that. I'm gonna put it right on down. This is a really important step. You wanna press down on your steak so it gets a nice sear and it makes contact with the pan. I'm gonna do the same thing over here with this steak. There we go, same thing. Make really good contact with that pan so that the whole surface is getting a nice, good sear. Okay, so it's been about 2 minutes. I'm gonna go ahead and turn it. Now it's definitely not cooked all the way through, but remember, I'm just trying to get a sear. Woo, look at that! Oh my gosh. Okay, and to get a really nice press here, what I like to do is I take this little spatula and this little weight so I don't burn myself, and I press down, just like that. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Okay, I'm gonna do it with the other one now. Oh my gosh, look at this papa. Look at this guy. That looks amazing. All right. Same thing. Put the spatula down, get that press. So when you're dealing with a really thick steak like this is your best friend. I know there's pro chefs out there that can use their fingers. They might be able to even look at it, but if you really want precision, you want to get the perfect doneness, use a thermometer. So this is what I'm going to be using. I'm going to cook one of these medium well, and I'm one of these more medium, maybe like a medium rare. The cool thing about American Wagyu is there's so much fat that even if you do it medium or even more than medium, you're still gonna get the juiciness, you're still gonna get the tenderness and the flavor because there's so much fat inside the meat. These are just about ready, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that last side, and then we'll see if I wanna put it on the top shelf. I'm gonna go ahead and flip it. See this side? This is the opposite side of where the fat is. There's definitely a lot of fat on this side as well. And sear this side. Well, let's just take a look. See, this is what happens when you put it in the fridge, even for just a few hours. But if you did it overnight, the sear would be even better. Woohoo! These are gonna be amazing. Oh, yes. Look at this. Okay, so one of the cool things about this steak, because it's so thick, you can really leave it on here for a lot longer. In fact, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to let it sear one more time on each side for about 30, 45 seconds. And then I'm gonna put it on the top shelf. Because right now, if I were to attempt this, I bet you it's probably 110, if that, in the center. Definitely 45 seconds. Let's see what kind of sear this has now. Oh, baby. Go ahead and do this side. Searing portion is done. Now it's just about cooking it through. So what I'm gonna do actually, I'm gonna put it on this pan right here. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna temp it. Really important to do this so you know how much longer you need to cook it. So let's see here. Okay, it's still 90 degrees. It's not even close to what I want it to be, even though I seared it. This one is 103, let's see. If I go in the center, 90. So they're both still definitely not done. Okay, what I'm gonna do with these is I'm gonna put it on the top shelf like this. Hopefully it doesn't get knocked over. And this is gonna let the oven function do its thing. So it doesn't need any more of a sear. It's good to go. That is gonna probably be another 6 to 10 minutes because these are so thick. While that's happening though, I'm gonna go ahead and start cooking these onions. These onions are gonna soak up all the flavor of the fat that came out of the steaks, including that butter. This is gonna be a really nice side. The onions have been going for about 3 minutes. It's soaking up all the fat from the steaks. The steaks are gonna be going, I'm going to check the temperature every few minutes. It's reading 350, but it's quickly going up. I bet you it's even hotter than that. That is totally okay. I actually want it to be in the, I want to say 400 to 450, so it's a slower cooking process. That way it sinks into the middle without overcooking the outside. This is where you have to have your thermometer. It's so important that you check the temp through and through. But like I said, this is American Wagyu, lots of fat, a lot of forgiveness if you do overcook it a little bit. There's been a lot of times where people wanted medium rare. I did medium and it was still delicious, still mind-blowing, but still, especially with another type of steak that doesn't have as much marbling or fat, gotta check the temperature. All right, here we go. Oh yeah, getting some of that charring going on. Look at all this. This is all that butter. I'm gonna actually run some of this through like that. These onions aren't gonna take much longer. In fact, they're getting to the point where they're basically done. That cast iron griddle really retains a lot of heat, so I don't want more charring than this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna stack it a little bit. Okay, let me just check. Oh yeah, it's getting there. It's at 108 right there. This one, 120. Let's get more of the center. Oh yeah, oh yeah. This is probably gonna go for another 5 minutes and it'll be good to go. I'm gonna actually take these onions off because they're good. I don't wanna overcook these. I'm trying to impart the flavor of the beef fat, soak up some of that residual butter, and cook it. That's good eats right there. I'm gonna go ahead and close it and check in about 5 minutes. Oh, baby. Look at that. Look at that. All right, so the other one is still in the grill because I want this one to be more medium rare, maybe medium. That one maybe medium well. I want a little pink in this one. That one's gonna take a few more minutes. Oh, see this one, it says 124, 126. This will go up a little bit, but I'm gonna throw it back into the oven for probably like 3 minutes, and then this one and the other one should be done by then, and then we'll let it rest, and then we'll eat dinner.